Hello everyone, I am Josh and welcome to this Sims 4 house building video. Now today I am building a haunted mansion because it is almost Halloween, so I thought it would be appropriate to build a Halloween inspired house. So this manor, as I'm calling it, it's not really a mansion, it's not that big, but this house has 4 bedrooms and it's built over 3 floors. Well, I mean, there's really 2 main floors and there's also a kind of basement thingy, which you'll see near the end. I don't really know what it is. It's just a random room, so you'll see that. But anyway, this house, of course, uses a lot of the objects from the most recent stuff pack, spooky stuff. So, you know, that makes sense. This is a spooky house, so you'd expect me to use that stuff. So here you can see I'm working on the shape of the house, and it is quite an interesting shape. There's a lot of diagonals in it, and there's also a lot of towers. The house ends up having 4 towers, so you can see there's 3 of them here, and I add one in near the end. So yeah, there's a lot of houses, a lot of towers, a lot of peaks, which makes the house look really interesting though from outside. I mean, it's a very interesting shape because there's a lot of diagonals, and there's different roof shapes, and there are a lot of different heights. It just looks really interesting, and of course the colors make it look a lot more spooky. So as you can see here, working on the roof and the diagonal bit there, and increasing the height of that tower. So it's a very tall tower. It's actually a 4-story tower there. So yeah, there's really not anything in there, but it looks pretty cool from outside. Now, one thing I wish that we had in The Sims 4 was like a world that this kind of house would work in better, because right now I'm building it in Newcrest, and as you can see, it's very cheery and bright around the neighborhood around it. Like, I mean, there's bright green grass and everything like that. I mean, I take the screenshots and everything at night, because that way it looks quite a bit more spooky. But I mean, in The Sims 3 we had, what was the names of the worlds? I think we had Moonlight Falls and Midnight something, I forget. It was a store world. Yeah, I get those two confused all the time. But, you know, those were like dark, spooky worlds. I mean, I guess that's something that might come in, I don't know, like if they do a supernatural type of pack, we'd probably see that. But anyway, the house doesn't entirely fit in with the rest of the game, but you know, it's in the Halloween spirit, so if you want to download it for some fun or something like that, you can do that, or you know, that kind of thing. Or I guess you could possibly make it a community lot and then use it like a haunted house, but I don't think that would be very exciting. That'd probably be pretty boring. So yeah, anyway, you can see here I put some stone on the house, and I was looking for the kind of sidings I want to use. I end up using one of the sidings from the Spooky Stuff pack, and then I used one from the, I think, Outdoor Retreat. So you can see on the top of that tall tower, I have that gray paneling, which is what I used kind of as an accent, and then I used the darker paneling, which you can see I have on the lower floors. I used that kind of, well, I think I used the light gray one as the base, and then like the darker one, the darker paneling is the accent. So, you know, it kind of makes it look like there's a bit more stuff going on as opposed to the whole house just being one color. So, I mean, it's all like gray and black, but there's different textures to it, so it kind of makes it look more interesting. And you can see there I put in the front porch. Finally, I put in all the trim and stuff, and right now I'm trying to put some trim, like some trim to go like in between the roof and the columns, so I have to add like a level there. So it was all diagonal, so it was kind of annoying. So oops, yeah, I just accidentally hit a F. I didn't, yeah, speaking of that weird thing there, I didn't know that if you hit the F1 key, it actually put you to the Manage Worlds view, and I hit it accidentally instead of hitting escape, so that's what that was. Anyway, you can see I put some trim there in between the porch roof and the columns. It's kind of hard to see, but it makes it look a bit nicer. And here I'm putting in some windows, and most of the windows in this house are the kind of arched ones, or the shuttered ones, so they look pretty good, and they come in dark colors. The problem with most of the windows in the game is they don't come in dark colors. Like, they come in like with black shutters or something, but then like the wood color is white, so it just doesn't work. So I ended up having to go with those. And here with the fence was another problem. There are no like wrought iron fences. They have like some tiny ones that are like a few inches high, but that's not very useful. So I ended up having to go with the hedge fence, because otherwise all they had were like wooden plank fences, which did not look creepy or spooky or anything like that. So, you know, it's a little bit difficult to make a house like this in The Sims 4, but I decided to go with a hedge fence. And there you can see I just put a little balcony up on the top of that tower, and I put some little supports underneath there. There's a lot of balconies on this house too. I think there's 3 of them, 4 of them, so that's kind of interesting. I added them around the place just to make it look a little bit more, I don't know, like a little bit more kind of all over the place, because I don't want to look like a house that was built with complete precision. You know, it's a bit all over the place. There's like things that like stick out, like just balconies that stick out of the wall, like in random places and stuff. It makes it look like it was, you know, it kind of gives it that spooky look. So anyway, you can see here I'm putting on some ivy using flower boxes. I did the same thing on my Tudor house build that I did a couple weeks ago. So yeah, it looks really cool. I just love the look of that, and I use that in a few more places on the house because it kind of makes it look like, you know, it's a little overgrown. There's some ivy growing up the house. I don't know, I thought it looked really cool. And you can see here I'm just finishing off all the colors on the outside, and now we're working on the floor plan. So the floor plan, like the outside, is a little bit funky. The room shapes are kind of weird, but yeah, and that was the point. I don't want this house to be like perfect in every way. You know, the whole point is that it's kind of a little bit weird and, you know, kind of looks old and stuff like that. So you can see here with the floor plan, there's a lot of angles and diagonals and weird corners and stuff, but I thought it looked really cool. It kind of gave the house some character. And yeah, so as I was saying, the house has 4 bedrooms, although if you wanted to, you could probably make it 5 because there is a room on the 2nd floor that I just kind of made a library type thing. So you definitely could make that another bedroom. So right here, I'm putting in the basement, or at least trying to, because I wanted to do stacked stairs, but it just didn't work, so I ended up having to put the basement stairs next to the normal staircase that goes to the 2nd floor. And the whole point of the basement was to kind of make like a room where you could put like collectible items and stuff. So I put some display cases down there, and I also put some weird sci-fi things down there, like from the science career from Get to Work, just because, I don't know, it was interesting. Maybe there's like a mad scientist who lived here or something, who knows. So yeah, here I'm just finishing up the back porch there, which unfortunately I couldn't put any stairs off of that back porch because it's all on an angle, and I don't believe you can put angled stairs, so I had to add a separate back step, but like a separate little porch on the back, but that's fine. So you can see I just added a roof to one of those balconies, and here I'm putting columns on all the corners just to kind of make it look a bit more detailed. It looks really cool. I love the look of it. I did the same thing with the Goth Manor house build I did a little while ago, and it just looks really cool. So you can see here, putting all the columns everywhere, and you can see it just kind of makes the corners like of the walls look like there's some kind of nice trim there or something. So I thought that turned out nicely. And here I'm putting in some more windows, and yeah, there's still quite a bit more windows that I have to put on, but I'll get to it. Here I'm putting some more ivy just there, and some more ivy over here, and I do put some more ivy on the back of the house later, but you know, just a lot of ivy. But it looks really cool, so I'm happy with that. And here I'm finally putting on some flooring for the porches, and now we're putting in the back step, so it's a little back porch there off the kitchen, so your Sims can actually get out of the back of the house. So there you go. Now here I'm just adding a little bit more details. Here's some more windows. So using some more of those shuttered windows, which I actually really like. Those are pretty cool. I just wish they could go closer together, which they can't without glitching out, so that's a little annoying. But anyway, you can see I'm putting some nice large arched windows in the dining room, or what will be the dining room. And yeah, another arched window there. A lot of big windows on the first floor actually, which is pretty nice. So, I mean, even though there's a lot of big windows in this house, the house doesn't really seem very bright inside because I use so many dark colors. And I also use a very small amount of lights because I wanted it to be dark on purpose. I mean, it's not like pitch dark. I mean, there's lighting in the house, obviously, but I mean, it's not like bright and cheery or anything, as you'd expect, because it is supposed to be a spooky house. So, yeah. Anyway, you can see finishing up the windows and putting some railings on the second floor staircase so your Sims don't fall to their deaths, although they can't anyway, but just a nice detail. And putting in some doors, some interior doors. I do change some of them around a bit, but here I'm just putting them in, and yeah, so putting in some nice doors all over the place, and many more doors. So, of course, this house being a old kind of manor style house, there is no open floor plan. It's all the rooms are closed in, so you have a separate kitchen, dining room, living room, entranceway. Everything is, closed in, as you'd expect. And there's also 3 fireplaces in the house, one in the study, one in the living room, and one in the master bedroom. And right here, I'm just expanding the basement. I also add this little, like, I don't know what you'd call it, but it's like a little hole in the ground there so I could put a window in the basement. And, I know there's a name for those kind of windows, basement windows. I forget what it's called though, but I don't know. I thought it looked pretty cool, so I added that in. And I also put some walls in the basement as well, so that's good to have. And yeah, so I think pretty soon we're going to work on landscaping. Yeah, actually we're doing it right now. Wow, that was great timing. Yeah, so I do most of the landscaping before I go inside because I just did not feel like doing the inside. So I decided to do the landscaping first this time. So you can see there is the little jack-o'-lantern. I really wish the jack-o'-lanterns in this game lit up at night, but they don't. They're just carved pumpkins with no lights in them, so that's kind of sad. But I don't know why they call them jack-o'-lanterns in the game, but since there's no light in them, I would not call them a jack-o'-lantern. It's just a carved pumpkin. So I didn't even realize that the jack-o'-lanterns from the pack don't actually light up, so that's pretty unfortunate. I mean, like, really? Come on. If you're going to put a jack-o'-lantern in the game, it has to light up, but I guess that was an oversight by whoever came up with those objects. Anyway, you can see here, putting a lot of plants around the house, also some trees, and I really put some kind of dead grass, like muddy dead grass around the place to make it look a little bit more depressing. And like, because I mean, it's a haunted house, you wouldn't really have like bright green perfect grass. I mean, it's a bit weird. So here you can see I'm darkening up the grass and putting some dirt in it and putting some dead grass in there, just so it all looks kind of a bit more spooky, and less perfect and manicured. So yeah, and here I'm putting in the front walkway, which is just a stone walkway there. And now I'm putting a little ghost in. I think that's the only ghost light I put in. I don't know, and little gravestones over there. And now we're putting some lights inside. That's pretty exciting. So putting some chandeliers around the place, some nice gold ones. A lot of gold in the house, actually. I think like the main two colors are like the dark woods and the gold accents everywhere, which I thought looked pretty cool. And you can see here, already starting on the dark wood, so a lot of the house does have dark wood wallpaper in it, of course. I mean, that adds to the spooky feel, and it has the flooring from the spooky stuff pack, so all the flooring in the house, all the wood flooring in the house is from the spooky stuff pack, so it kind of has that worn look to it, and I thought it looked pretty cool. So right here, this little room is going to be the piano room, so there's a little piano there, and I don't know what I'm doing here. Oh, I'm putting some flooring in all the balconies, and yeah, so that room there where I just put the piano is kind of just like a little small space I had left over, so I made it like a little piano room, a little sitting area, so you'll see that. And here I'm putting some golden knights in armor statues on either side of the staircase there. I thought that looked pretty cool. And I'm also going to put some sconces in once I find them. There they are. And yeah, so this is the entrance. Pretty simple. I mean, it's not huge, but you got like some nice side tables there either side of the door, a little mat on the floor, and I also put a mirror and a painting in, so yeah, it just kind of looks like a nice entranceway. It takes me a while to find the right painting though. I don't know why. It took me forever to find a painting I wanted to use to actually put there, and that's the one I think I'd go with. So I put the painting there, and there's the mirror. And yeah, so there's the entranceway. And now moving on to this little room I was talking about earlier, so you can see there's the piano in it, and I also put in some seating, and you can see I'm putting in some of those ratty curtains from Spooky Stuff, and a little side table there also from Spooky Stuff. So like I said, a lot of the stuff in this house is from that stuff pack, so I mean, you can definitely download this house if you don't have it, but I think a lot of the items will be replaced, so it's a little bit unfortunate, but anyway. There's a nice chair there with a side table, so as I was talking about with the sitting area aspect of the room is just a chair, so, you still might want to sit down and listen to someone else play the piano. That's nice. And also there's a little side table in there with the statue on it. And I also put some random clutter items on that table, and that's that room done. So this here is the living room, so you can see we have a fireplace, and it's an interesting shaped room. It's kind of like a teardrop shape. So you have that one straight wall and all the other walls are angled, which is kind of weird, but it has a kind of green color scheme to it with the curtains and the chairs, so it looks pretty good. And also put some bookshelves in. Like a lot of my houses, this one has a lot of bookshelves as well, so a lot of bookshelves. And there's a grandfather clock, which is pretty nice. And also putting in a rug. And one thing to note about this house is there's no technology in it, so there's no stereos, there are no TVs or computers. So if you actually want to play this house with a sim, I would recommend putting in those things because they're probably nice to have. I didn't do it though because I feel like this kind of house wouldn't have a computer or a TV or a radio or anything like that, because it's an old house that, you know, supposedly abandoned for a long time. You can see I'm putting in some spider webs, which are pretty cool. I do put those in some of the rooms, and also I do put a spider actually in the living room, so that kind of looks a bit creepy. And yeah, so overall, this house doesn't have any technology in it, so if you do want to play in this house, I'd recommend putting that in, but I didn't put it in because I didn't think it suited it. So yeah, that's a fun fact right there. And also putting in some dead plants there, which I know they're supposed to be dead, but maybe it kind of looks like they were once living and then someone just left them to die, which is kind of depressing, but you know, it kind of suited the house. And I also putting in some more random items. And this room here that I'm about to do, didn't do it yet though, I'm looking for a wall color for it. There we go. The one I just painted red is going to be the dining room. So you can see pretty big room, also pretty much all on an angle except for that one wall. And here you can see I'm putting in a dining table. All of it's red, the red chairs, the red walls, and also this here is a buffet. So in theory, if there was a party here, you could put like serve food on that or something, and people could go up and grab what they want. Also putting in some red curtains to go along with the red theme. And also putting in some chairs. You know what, this dining room really does remind me of some of the rooms in the Goth Manor, because the one I built like a month ago, because I remember there's a lot of red in that house too. So it's kind of reminded me of that, and it looked pretty fancy to have everything red like that, like a royal red room. I don't know, it looked kind of old and like something very fancy like a house like this might have. So you can see also putting in some shelves there, and I also put some paintings like they're leaning on top of the shelves, or at least I tried to give it that illusion. And also I put some random clutter items on the shelves as well, so you can see here just looking for some random stuff to put on there. And also I put a sofa, of course, in red in the back of the room there. And also I'm putting in a little side table, just a bunch of items and stuff. And I think I also put a rug in over here by those chairs, perhaps, or maybe not. Also, some more cobwebs, of course, or spider webs, so pretty big spider webs as well. I wish they had some more realistic looking spider webs. I mean, like, I think the thing is with the Spooky Stuff pack, is the idea was that it was supposed to be a pack that you would add items to your house that would kind of make it look like Halloween. So like jack-o'-lanterns, like fake cobwebs, and like fake Halloween, not really fake Halloween, but like Halloween decorations that people put, not actually items to make a house look haunted. But you know, so like some of the items in this house don't look that realistic, like the spider webs, for example. But you know, it kind of works. I mean, like the rest of the colors and everything kind of make it look like a haunted house. And right there is a bathroom on the first floor. And now we're about to begin on the kitchen, which is a huge room. It's also a bizarrely shaped room, as you can see. So yeah, the kitchen's actually pretty cool though. So the counters were a little bit of a challenge to figure out because they kind of wrap around weird shapes and stuff. So you can see here, I'm putting some counters in over here around that kind of weird angle. So there is some glitching because of the way I did it, but I had to kind of overlap the counters because otherwise it wouldn't go around that corner, but it's not that big a deal. And you can see here I'm putting in some cabinets now, and yeah, so all the appliances in the kitchen are pretty old too, so you can see I have that kind of old wood stove, and I also put the matching refrigerator in, and there is a dishwasher though. That's the only thing that's kind of a more modern feature, so I did put a dishwasher in, but otherwise there's no microwave or coffee machine or anything like that. So again, if you want those and you download the house, you'll have to put those in. But yeah, so here you can see there's a nice island there, and also I did put the refrigerator in a moment ago, and I'm also putting in some tile walls here, and yeah, so pretty large kitchen. I also have a small breakfast nook in there, so you don't have to eat in the formal dining room if your Sims don't want to. So you can see putting in some lighting so you can actually see in the kitchen, which is useful. And I also put some little china cabinet and a kind of weird screen thing there for no reason, just to fill up space. And yeah, so here we're beginning on putting in a bunch of clutter items. Now the kitchen has a lot of clutter items in it, so yeah, I pretty much used like the whole catalog of clutter items. So putting in some like books on the top of that shelf, like their cookbooks, and I put in some like vases with utensils in them, and there's some knives, and I also put in some more utensils over there, like spatulas and forks and stuff. I also put in some golden pots and pans, which I love those. And I also put in some of the more ratty curtains again. And I moved those pots and pans, actually. And yeah, a lot of the stuff in the kitchen, like a lot of the clutter items are gold. So you can see the lights are gold, all the pots and pans are gold. And you'll see I put some more stuff in. So, a lot of that kind of stuff. I don't know. I thought it looked pretty cool, though. There's a mat on the floor, and there's some bar stools, and another mat over there. And, yeah, there's a little kettle thing, and there's another gold thing, and there's another gold thing. There's some more stuff. Oh, there's that little cauldron, which is from Spooky Stuff. I'm not sure what it does. I don't remember what it does. Maybe it's just purely decorative. I don't know, but I put that in. And I also put in, there's that table, so if your Sims want to eat there, they can do that. So now we're working on the study here, which is a pretty small room, but it has a fireplace, a lot of bookshelves, and a desk, although there is no computer, of course, although if you download the house, this would be the perfect room to put a computer in. And there's a nice large window in it as well. So you can see there's some chairs and some more bookshelves, and here comes the desk. So yeah, the desk is mainly the main focal point of the room, since it's like right in the middle. And you can see I put a lamp and some books and a folder on it, so there's no computer, but it's a pretty nice room. And it didn't take too long to make. Of course, there's some more spider webs to give it that creepy look. And yeah, so I think that's pretty much this room done. Not too much to it. And I think that concludes the first floor. So now we're just going to pop outside and put in some plants there, and also a little bit of outdoor lighting, so just some lights around the place. I didn't do as much outdoor lighting as I usually do because the house is supposed to look dark and spooky, so I just put some lights by the doors and then a few porch lights, just so it looks realistic but not like overly lit up, so it looks pretty nice at night. And here I'm just adjusting the roofs, so I actually make the tower roofs a bit more pointy and a bit taller, so I kind of curve them. And here I'm adding the fourth tower I was talking about earlier, which is also very tall. It's as tall as the big tower there in the front, as you can see. And it also has the same kind of pointy roof. And I just put that in just to add a bit more detail because, that just made the roof look quite a bit more interesting. And I think now we're going to begin on the second floor. So the second floor landing is also a very weird shape because it has the master bathroom kind of jutting into it with that angled part, as you can see. And yeah, so it's a pretty interesting room. It just has a sofa in there with a coffee table and some bookshelves. Of course, there's bookshelves in almost every room in this house. And I was going to put some more spider webs in, but there was no place to put them, so that was kind of unfortunate. And here I'm just putting in some random clutter items, and I think that's pretty much the landing there done. And here I'm just putting in a bathroom, so this is just a kind of guest bathroom that's there. So it has a tub, shower, toilet, and 2 sinks, and a little robe there. That's pretty fancy. And yeah, so that's pretty much that bathroom, not overly fancy. And this room here that I'm putting the bookshelves in now is kind of just like a library type room. The tower that's in it is like 3 stories tall, so it's like an incredibly high ceilinged room, but it's also very small. So I didn't really know what to do with it. I mean, I guess you could make this room a bedroom if you want to, but I just kind of put some bookshelves in it, some chairs. It's kind of just like an extra room or a library type room. It could also be a study too if you wanted it to be. So, it's just kind of like a little bonus room thing that's there because there was extra space for it. So, yeah, here I'm just looking for some clutter items to put in it. I put a giant jack-o'-lantern in there. That's a huge pumpkin. And I also had to move around the doors because I forgot to put a door to one of the bedrooms. So that would have been a problem. And that's that room done. So now we're moving on to the master bedroom, which also has a fireplace and a balcony. And this bedroom is red, so it's very much kind of in the color schema of the dining room. So you get those red lamps. We also have a fireplace, which I think I said it before. And there's also a little sitting area over by the fireplace. So, and you probably guessed, no, actually, I don't think there are bookshelves in this room. Oh wow. I was about to say there are bookshelves in here, but they're not. There's just 2 dressers, and I also put a mirror in. And there's a nice rug there, so your Sims can sit there by the fireplace if they want to. And here I'm just putting in some details, and there's the mirror, and a nice rug, which I don't go with that one because the pattern clashed with the bedspread. I ended up going with that one, I believe. And yeah, so overall, pretty simple master bedroom. It's kind of a weird shape as well, but like I said, all the rooms in the house are, so that's not very surprising. And there's another jack-o'-lantern. I feel like there's jack-o'-lanterns in every bedroom, not every bedroom. Well, I think there are in every bedroom, but at least in every room in the house, there's probably a pumpkin. Because that was like the only way I could feel like I could connect it to Halloween, because I don't know, otherwise it's just kind of like an old house. I mean, there's really otherwise nothing that makes it Halloween-esque. So, you know, I was trying to make it that way by putting some pumpkins around the place. And this here's the master bathroom, which is also inside a tower, so it does have a 2-story ceiling, which is pretty fancy. And here you can see I'm just putting in the wall coverings, and it has the double sinks, tub, shower, and toilet, of course. And here I'm just putting in some curtains, and yeah, it's pretty nice, pretty large bathroom. And it's got some nice details in it, so I'm putting those in now. You have a little toilet paper roll, of course, some towels, and some soap, and some robes. All the stuff I do usually. Some plants, and it looks pretty nice. And there, of course, are 3 more bedrooms to do, all of which I kind of breezed through pretty quickly. But, you know, they're pretty nice bedrooms. There's not too much to them, though, so you'll see that as we go along. And just finishing up the bathroom, and now we're moving on to, I think, this is the first guest bedroom. So, as you can see, it's pretty much all on a diagonal, except that one corner of the room is kind of a weird shape. And it goes for a dark kind of gold, black, and gray color scheme, so you can see we have those lamps. I also put some chairs in the back of the room, and of course a bookshelf, and I also put a mirror in, and some other things. You can see overall it's not a huge room, and it's not like extremely detailed or anything, but it's a pretty nice room, and it gets the job done. Looks pretty creepy as well, so that's always a bonus. And yeah, so I think that's pretty much the room. There's a pumpkin, of course, there's another pumpkin, and there you go. Now we're moving on to the next guest bedroom, which is also very large. Actually, the other room wasn't large, but I mean, it's pretty large. Also, I thought we were gonna do that bedroom, but I guess we're not. We're putting more ivy on the house, because why not? Yeah, there's the ivy, and there's another thing. And what am I doing? I don't know. Okay, now we're moving on to that bedroom that I was talking about. So, it's pretty big. It also has a balcony off of it, like the master, and it's pretty big. I think it's not as big as the master, but it's a pretty decent size. And you can see here's a nice mirror, a dresser, also a sitting area, of course, and another dresser, because why not? And I also put a little plant in the corner, some lamps, just makes it look kind of nice. A pumpkin, of course, and a spider web there in the corner. And yeah, so it's putting some curtains in, just finishing up the room, getting another lamp in, another lamp, and a little tissue box, some clothes. And I think that bedroom is now done. So now we're moving on to the final bedroom, which is kind of a kid's room. So it has some toys in it, it has a single bed, and it also has a little desk in there, and a bookshelf, of course, there's the bookshelf. And putting some lighting in, this room also has a tower, so it also has a 2-story ceiling. And also I put a little pumpkin carving station in, because that's pretty nice, and also another pumpkin. And there's that little big kind of bear that looks like a skeleton that I put in. I also put in like a devil as well, another stuffed animal there. You can see the red one. Maybe it's supposed to be a dinosaur, but I don't know. It looked kind of more like a devil to me. Yeah, so there's the desk, and there's no computer on it, of course, but there's some books and a lamp and stuff like that. Anyway, we're moving on to the basement, and I had no idea what I wanted to do with this room, so I put like a woodworking station in it, and I put like that weird machine. I don't know what it does. And I also put in some display cases, so like if your Sims find, also some bookshelves, of course, but I also put in some display cases, so if your Sims find like rocks or like collectible items or stuff, they can put them in there, I guess. And also that weird tube thing full of water, because why not? And there you go, that's the basement. So now we're almost done with this build. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please check out my channel. I have a lot more house builds like this one, and also there's some screenshots after this that I hope you'll stick around for. And anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. We're just finishing up here, putting on the final touches, like a mailbox in the front, of course, and just a bit more terrain paint around the fence to make it look like there's dirt underneath it. And yeah, so anyway, I hope you guys have a great Halloween, even though it's a little while away. I'll say a little while, it's like a week away, so it's coming up. And yeah, so here you can see putting in some more bushes, and I think we're pretty much done. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye everyone, have a great day.